First-person shooters have taken the gaming world by storm, but with so many options out there, how do you know which ones are worth your time? Don't worry, I've got your back. In this video, we're gonna dive into the 7 absolute best shooter games you can play on your Android, iOS, or PC. Trust me, these games will have you hooked faster than you can say headshot. As an avid gamer who's played my fair share of shooter titles, I was intrigued to try out Hitman Sniper on mobile. This spin-off narrows the focus to what many consider the most satisfying part of the main games, precision sniping. Unlike the console versions where you're planning elaborate hits, Hitman Sniper puts you behind the scope for some long-distance assassinations. Your job is simple: take out the target from afar, but don't think it's just point and shoot. There's more to it than meets the eye. You take on the role of Agent 47, using a sniper scope to discreetly eliminate high-profile targets at a lakeside compound. The gameplay is a mix of puzzle solving and tactical shooting, as you must isolate targets without alerting their associates. The targets are easy to spot, but figuring out the best way to take them down is the real challenge.
Do you go for a clean headshot or get creative and make it look like an accident?
You'll find yourself replaying levels to hit those high scores, but it never feels repetitive. The environments, while reused, are expansive and detailed enough to keep things interesting. I found myself discovering new angles and opportunities, even after multiple playthroughs. I was genuinely impressed by the graphics. They're not quite console quality, but they're pretty close for a mobile game. The animations are particularly good, especially when you're reloading your rifle. It adds a level of immersion that I wasn't expecting from a phone game. Despite minor flaws, Hitman Sniper achieved a Metacritic score of 76 to 100, making it Square Enix Montreal's most successful title. That definitely bolstered the studio's finances. While it might not be as unique as Hitman Go, Hitman Sniper still offers a solid sniping experience with enough depth to keep you coming back. At $4.99 on iPhone and iPad, it's a pretty good deal for anyone who enjoys a bit of strategic shooting. Give it a shot, you might find yourself hooked. Shadowgun Legends is rocking a solid 4.4 out of 5 stars on Google Play, while Apple's App Store users are even more impressed, giving it a whopping 4.8 out of 5. But it's not just the average Joe singing its praises. The critics at Metacritic are on board too, with a hefty 85% approval rating. So what's all the fuss about? Well, Shadowgun Legends is a free first-person shooter that's been crafted specifically for mobile by the folks at Madfinger Games. They've clearly hit the bullseye with this one, creating an experience that's got both casual gamers and hardcore FPS fans hooked. Set in a futuristic world where humanity is facing an alien invasion from a ruthless race called the Torment, you play as one of the Shadowguns. They're a group of elite warriors and heroes who are the last line of defense against the alien threat. The cool thing is, you can make your character look however you want and deck them out with all sorts of weapons and gear. There's tons of stuff to collect. We're talking hundreds of guns and armor pieces, and get this, you can even slap some paint and stickers on them to make them uniquely yours. Now, if you're like me and love playing with friends, you're in luck. You can team up for missions, take on tough dungeons, or even duke it out in PvP matches. It's a blast whether you're working together or trying to outgun each other. The story mode is pretty sweet too. You'll be hopping between 3 different planets, each with its own vibe and baddies to take down. And don't even get me started on the bosses. They'll keep you on your toes. But here's the kicker. This game looks incredible. Everything from the characters to the explosions looks top-notch. Look, if you're into shooters and have been itching for something new to play on your phone, give Shadowgun Legends a shot. Trust me, it's worth checking out. Next, let's chat about Combat Master Mobile, a sweet first-person shooter from Alpha Bravo Inc. This free-to-play game has been making waves, especially among folks with older PCs. It's received solid ratings across the board, 4.5 on Google Play, 4.7 on the App Store, and a respectable 7.4 on TapTap. So, what's the deal with this game? If you've played Call of Duty, you'll feel right at home here. Combat Masters borrows a lot from COD, featuring familiar elements like unlocking weapons and camos. You've got typical game modes like deathmatch and arms race. Sure, it's not breaking new ground, but I think it is fun. A kind of casual experience perfect for newbies. I felt gameplay to be pretty straightforward. You can jump and slide around, testing your aim and reflexes in realistic looking environments. You'll be armed to the teeth, running through various arenas with one simple goal: take down every enemy in sight. With a whole arsenal at your disposal, you can choose your favorite weapons, whether you prefer sharpshooting or a more spray and pray approach. They've also added a new new mode called Combat Zone, which resembles a mini Warzone with 64 players. You'll find weapon caches and have the ability to revive teammates, but be aware that many opponents are AI bots. This makes the game easier to get into, but it might not satisfy players looking for a competitive challenge. Now, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. The game could use improvements, like duo and squad modes, or the ability to carry more than one primary weapon. Plus, while there are vehicles, they aren't usable yet, a bit of a bummer. Bottom line, if you want a chill shooter experience without any fuss, Combat Masters is worth a shot. It's perfect for those looking for an enjoyable game that won't tax their old PCs. Give it a go on Steam. After all, it's free. The first thing I noticed was that Arena Breakout feels a lot like Tarkov. You've got your character, gear, supplies, traders, missions, and maps all laid out. But here's the clickbait. Arena Breakout Infinite is way easier to navigate. They've added some neat features that'll make you wonder why other games haven't caught up. Quick buying and equipping food? Check. Organized storage? You bet. Helpful healing tips? Absolutely. And after each raid, you get this cool report that shows your movements and highlights from your fights. Getting into a raid is a breeze. Gear up, pick between normal mode or the tougher Forbidden Zone, choose your map, and you're good to go. Normal mode is more casual, while Forbidden Zone ups the ante. You'll need to pay to enter and bring gear worth at least 880,000 coins. Don't worry about long wait times. The longest I've had was about a minute. Plus, there's a team system that'll hook you up with other players if you're flying solo. Now, let's talk about gunplay. The weapons sound great and feel good to use. Each type, SMGs, shotguns, rifles, pistols, has its own personality. Close quarters combat is a blast, but long-range fights can feel a bit off sometimes, like you're shooting a BB gun instead of a real rifle. The beta has two maps, Farm and Valley. They look okay, but they're missing that special something that makes Tarkov's maps so memorable. As I said, you can't help but compare Arena Breakout to Tarkov. They both have traders, missions, and similar loot. The AI can be a mixed basket. Sometimes you'll have an epic showdown with a group or a boss. Other times, they'll act like they've lost the plot. Visually, the game looks slick thanks to Unreal Engine, but I did notice some frame drops. That's probably just beta blues though. My advice? Keep an eye on this one and give it a shot when you can. It might just surprise you. If you told me a while back that PUBG Mobile would beat out the Xbox version and be free, I'd have laughed. But here we are, and mobile gaming's looking pretty sweet. It's wild how well PUBG Mobile nails the main game, letting you jump right in on your phone. The core of PUBG is still there. 100 folks parachute onto this empty island, scrambling for guns and gear while trying to be the last one alive. First time I dropped into a Rangel on my phone, I was like, no way. Right now, you've only got the original map, but the mobile version runs shockingly well. It even looks better than Xbox in some ways. Smoother, nicer textures. You're not playing against PC or console folks, which is probably for the best. Kinda wish I could bring over my account stuff. Now, the touchscreen controls, they can be a pain. Trying to move, aim, and shoot all at once feels clunky. I got used to it eventually, but aiming's still tricky, and I've definitely given away my position with accidental shots. Found myself playing way more aggressively than I would on PC or console too. Tencent, the developer, tried to make things easier by automating some stuff, like picking up ammo and equipping weapons. Surprisingly, they didn't go overboard with pay-to-win stuff, and I barely saw any ads. Bottom line, PUBG Mobile is pretty impressive. It's got all the main features, and you can play it anywhere. Sure, the controls aren't as good as a mouse and keyboard or controller. Call of Duty. Warzone Mobile feels a lot like its console version, but it's been tweaked for quick, action-packed mobile gaming. It keeps the main parts of Warzone 2.0, so it's easy to get into whether you've played before or you're new to the game. This mobile version has shorter 10-minute matches with 3-player teams. This keeps things moving and cuts out boring bits. The map is a smaller part of Verdansk, the original Warzone map. I think this has an effect on the action. It was more intense, but still felt familiar as a fan. You can play with 36, 60, or 120 total players looking for good weapons and gear. There are contracts around the map that encourage you to explore and earn money. You can use this cash to buy stations for upgrades, kill streaks, or bringing back teammates who've been knocked out. The gulag is still there too, letting you fight for another chance to get back in the game. The gameplay is fun, but the touch controls can be a bit awkward when things get crazy. If you use a Bluetooth controller or backbone attachment, you can do things like jumping and sliding much more easily. I found this head start really helping in competitive play. If you want to do well, using a controller is probably your best. Overall, Call of Duty Warzone Mobile is a solid battle royale game that packs the series' signature action into a mobile format. It's easy to start playing, but takes time to get really good at. If you're itching for a high-octane FPS experience on your phone, Modern Combat 5 delivers the goods. The single-player mode has 6 chapters, each with different missions. You can pick from a bunch of soldier types, and they all have their own special weapons and abilities. And if you're into customizing your guns, you're gonna love this. There are tons of options. The gameplay, it's wild. One minute you're sprinting around, the next you're picking off enemies from a distance. They even throw in this crazy slow-mo bullet control thing. It's like being in an action movie. Fair warning though, the touchscreen controls can be a pain. If you've got a controller, you must use it. Now let's talk about how it looks. You'll be fighting through Venice canals and city streets, and it all looks amazing. The game runs smooth as butter too, and the sound, top notch. The music gets your blood pumping, and the explosions and gunfire sound super realistic. Just try to ignore the cheesy voice acting. It's pretty bad. I tried out the multiplayer, and it's fun, but there weren't many people online when I played. On the bright side, there's no sneaky in-app purchases to worry about. The downside is you have to download each chapter as you go, and you can't play offline. This game is making waves in the mobile gaming world, and it's easy to see why. This action-packed shooter has been racking up impressive scores across the board. CNET gave it a solid 8.1 out of 10, while Google Play users are even more enthusiastic with a 4.6 out of 5 rating. Metacritic chimes in with a respectable 79% score. So, that was my review for the 7 games that are most worthy of your time in the shooting arena. Do hit the bell icon so we can meet in another gaming conversation next time.